Thank you. I just stand to make a motion because of the transfer of Senate Bill 9 to the House. So my motion is, I move that Senate Bill 9 be at the present time ordered to third reading by this resolution and read a third time.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Senate will now be attended to the clerk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 116, repealing the license requirement for carrying a concealed pistol or revolver.
Question is, notwithstanding the governor's veto, shall Senate Bill 116 become law? Roll call is required. Any discussion? Senator Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise to urge my colleagues to sustain the governor's veto on Senate Bill 116. And just as we discussed it a few months ago, it's based on common sense. In 2004, this repeal of the license requirement came up. Senator Gatsis made an impassioned speech about it, concluded with the words, "It's just common sense to keep this requirement in place." And I agree. I was speaking with a friend of mine last night about this bill. He's not very political. In fact, he considers himself apolitical. And I told him about the bill. He said, "This is crazy. Why would you repeal that license requirement?" I was like, that's what I'm trying to understand in all of this. Because it doesn't make common sense. And it doesn't make common sense, my colleagues, because the studies are conclusive that there's a qualitative distinction in risk between open carry and concealed carry. And open carry, when someone is openly carrying their firearm, it prevents and it wards off a risk of a confrontation. When you conceal carry, it invites confrontation. We've seen the data show that concealed carry in those states that have passed concealed carry, repealing the license requirement for concealed carry, that the number of simple altercations have escalated into deadly events. We do not need that policy in New Hampshire. There is a provision in Senate Bill 116 that I support very strongly. Unfortunately, we can't pull the bill apart. And that provision is the provision that would tighten up who's a so-called suitable person and who is not. I don't believe that when government acts, it should act arbitrarily. So in granting or denying these licenses, I think legislation is needed. I'm willing to try to sponsor it, co-sponsor it, anyone in this chamber, to tighten up those rules. But I do trust that we've heard evidence of a few exceptions, but with those few exceptions, I do trust that the law is being implemented fairly today. And police chiefs, I think the senator from District 20 said Manchester issues 3,000 of these licenses a year. Very few people are being denied. And so the problem is not there. However, I am willing to take a look at tightening up those standards, and happy to do so. There are some very specific talking points that came up during the debate on this bill. One that has probably the most visceral appeal in its argument is that law-abiding citizens should not have to ask the government for permission to exercise a constitutional right. And if you don't look below the surface of that argument, it sounds pretty good. However, there are two responses to that. Number one, there are constitutional rights that we enjoy that we today must apply to the government for permission. The most fundamental right that we have, the right to vote. We don't get to just walk up to the ballot clerk's table and take a ballot without them knowing who we are. We have to apply to register to get a ballot. So to say that we should not have, that the government there's no precedent for putting in some kind of vetting process before allowing the exercise of a constitutional right is just wrong. That's just factually inaccurate. Another point, this bill is usually referred to colloquially as constitutional carry, giving an implication that this bill is required by the Constitution. And that, too, Mr. President, is factually inaccurate. Justice Scalia, in the Heller decision, Heller versus District of Columbia, I believe it was, in which the Supreme Court, for the first time, recognized the right of an individual to own, possess, and carry a handgun. Justice Scalia said, not only can states regulate the concealed carry issue by imposing a license requirement, states can prohibit concealed carry. So to say that concealed carry is a constitutional right is a twisting of the facts in order to mislead, and we should not follow that. Another one of the more viscerally compelling arguments was that Vermont has had constitutional carry forever, and it's the safest state in the nation. Well, as we had, I think it was the senator from District 14 and I had a colloquy back in the debate. We need to look not at the general statistics of crime, of violent crime, which is from which that conclusion springs, but the data showing murders committed by handguns. In those states that have adopted constitutional carry, the rate of murder by handgun is higher than it is in the states that have not. In fact, Vermont is ranked number 19 in that list. New Hampshire, with its current license requirement, is ranked near the bottom. Near the bottom meaning more safe. The lowest number of handgun deaths. So, Mr. President, any legislation that we enact that increases the risk of violence, perpetuating this culture, hardened culture of violence and death, I think is something we should reject. And I ask my colleagues to sustain the benefit of that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Pierce. Further discussion? Senator Bradley.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise and ask my colleagues to consider overriding the gubernatorial veto of Senate Bill 116. And while we may not have the same bipartisan cooperation that we did on Senate Bill 9, I would like you, without reiterating all of the issues about Senate Bill 116, consider the following. The pen. Mightier than the sword. Imagine that this was a handgun. So, carrying it this way, legal. Carrying it that way, illegal. Without a permit. So, to the argument of common sense, I think the argument of common sense is pretty clear. If one is legally entitled to own a legal firearm in the United States of America, in New Hampshire, they're going to be able to carry on a concealed basis. That's a personal liberty. I believe, and my good friend, we can argue till the cows come home, that it is a constitutionally protected liberty. And let's just briefly touch on statistics. The one that really matters are the crime statistics compiled by the FBI. And I think comparing New Hampshire to Vermont is an apt comparison. If you believe in personal safety, and in this world that we live in today, personal safety is increasingly paramount. Vermont, which has had permitless carry since the inception of the state of Vermont in the 1700s, has never required a permit to carry a safest state in the nation, per the FBI 2013 crime statistics, for violent crime. That's what we're talking about here, violent crime. New Hampshire, while our violent crime rate is good, almost twice as high in terms of the number of violent crimes committed per 100,000 people. So, the only thing that's changed since we've had this debate, I believe it was in February, is the great weather and the fact that our friends in the state of Maine have passed the same common sense legislation. So, we'll debate it today, we'll vote today, but this debate will go on in the future until we're able, as individuals, to completely protect our lives, our liberties, and our loved ones. I urge you to vote yes and override the veto. Thank you.
Senator Bradley, any further discussion? You ready for the question? Clerk will call the roll.
Senator Woodburn.
No.
Senator Forster. Yes. Senator Bradley.
Yes.
Senator Waters.
No.
Senator Pierce.
No.
Senator Cataldo.
Yes.
Senator Hosmer.
No.
Senator Little.
Yes.
Senator Sanborn.
Yes.
Senator Kelly.
No.
Senator Daniels.
Yes.
Senator Avard.
Yes.
Senator Lasky.
No.
Senator Carson.
Yes.
Senator Feltes.
No.
Senator Booth.
Yes.
Senator Reagan.
Yes.
Senator Susie.
No.
Senator Bertzel.
Yes.
Senator D'Alessandro.
No.
Senator Fuller Clark.
No.
Senator Prescott.
Yes.
Senator Stiles.
Yes.
Senator Morse.
Yes. The noes have it, the governor's veto on Senate Bill 116 is sustained, lacking the necessary